Welcome to the Porn Free Millennial Podcast. I'm your host, Mac, and today we are talking about Valentine's Day, Love Without Chains, a porn free Valentine's Day experience brought to you by Porn Free Millennial. So, I was thinking about topics, literally just came up with this about a few hours ago. I was thinking about, hey, what am I going to talk about next? And Valentine's Day, right? Valentine's Day is here. And I think it's a interesting holiday. I think everyone has like their opinions on it. Some people are jaded, some people look forward to it, some people, probably most, are kind of in the middle. I know women really appreciate being showered with love and appreciation on this day. And I think as men, and I think this message goes to mainly men, I think we can make that day so much more special for them if we're living an undivided life, undivided day, where when we take our special person, our girlfriend, our wife, fiance, take them out to a nice dinner, nice experience, we can feel whole. We can feel confident in the words that we're telling them, in the promises that we're making, that smile that we're giving them, that kiss, the nice letter, the gift, you name it. We're backing it up with our actions. So that's really what I want to talk about today is that concept. Because when I think back on my previous Valentine's Day experiences, I definitely had the heart. I've always been pretty romantic. I think it's fun. I know it is a Hallmark holiday for sure. There's so much commercialization behind it, and all the restaurants hike up their prices, and you got to buy this, you got to buy that, you got to get this. You definitely have to get flowers. Like, you have to. If you don't get flowers, I don't know what to tell you. But typically, a nice dinner, I think it is what you make out of it, right? But for me, I've always thought it was fun. I've always enjoyed taking my woman out to dinner and treating her, saying nice things. But the thing that I've realized and that I've matured around, I think over the years, and especially the past few years of recovery, and then especially after that, in this new relationship that I'm in, is that when you go through these dates and you 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 spend the time to do something really thoughtful for somebody, and you're planning out this dinner, you're getting a nice gift, you're telling her how beautiful she is, how much she means to you. It means so much more when your actions back up your words. And when they know that, it just amplifies that intimacy and that connection. And I think that the person on the other side of that, your lady, she not only feels loved, but she has a appreciation and admiration for you and the kind of man that you are. And I think throughout my life, I've talked about how I've struggled with porn for 20 plus years, and I always meant what I said when I was telling my ex-wife or past girlfriends how much they meant to me, and that I think they're beautiful, and that they're a special person. I always meant it, but my actions in the background didn't always necessarily back that up. It'd be like I'd be telling them, "Hey, I'm completely in love with you. I'm committed to you. I hold you to the highest esteem. I respect you." And meanwhile, I'm completely addicted to porn. And I might have looked at porn that day, right? I call that the pregame. There's the pregame and the postgame, and neither are good. Before the date, after the date, the porn consumption, it really, I think, taints the experience, and it's a sad thing to look back on. Because really, when you look back on that day, and I can think back on certain dates that I had, or certain things that I did that were really thoughtful, or like a gift that I bought somebody. But then it's tainted by the realization that I also was spending my time and my attention, my energy towards my phone screen, my laptop, strangers, naked strangers, and literally replicating having sex with them. And the whole time disassociating that completely from my love for this person and my appreciation for them. And I think that's the thing that happens with porn. What we do is we disassociate. Uh, we can't come to the realization that it's one. We are one in our actions and what we do. It's not like, hey, this is Mac, the Christian, the husband, the boyfriend, the lover. Oh, and then this is Mac, the this is, hey, we don't talk about that Mac. We don't talk about what Mac does behind closed doors. That's a different story. We don't need to talk about that. That doesn't even matter. It doesn't even count. And that was something that I think I programmed. I had programmed in my mind since the age of 10 because I think it was something that I just felt like I couldn't really talk about. I was ashamed of, felt a lot of guilt, felt like just terrible about it, but also so drawn to it. And every time that I would complete the act and consume it, it would just create that much more weight that I just could not get off my chest. So instead of getting off my chest, I just let it sink on me and sink deeper and deeper, 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 deeper into the ground, into the darkness, to where it became so dark that it's almost like it just had its own little there's a dark spot in me where, hey, 99% of Mac, there's the light, and then that 1%, oh, that's just the dark part. We don't talk about it. But that 1% matters because you're not whole. Even if you're 99%, you're not whole. You're not wholly yourself. And I think going into Valentine's Day, and if you're struggling with porn, just focus on the day. Just say, hey, today I commit to being porn free. And then make that commitment the next day as well. And what you'll find is Valentine's Day will be that much more meaningful, that much more significant, that much more vivid. You'll be more focused on who you're going on the date with. Even if it's just a date, let's just say you're not even, you're in courtship, right? Like maybe this is your second date or your first date and you met someone you like. Going into that fresh is amazing. And why I say that is, so tomorrow's going to be my 1 year anniversary dating my girlfriend. And the first date that we went on, I was restarting my sobriety. I had a slip, a relapse last year. I think it was December 3rd or December 4th. And I committed to being porn free right before I went on my first date with my girlfriend, who I love very much. She's fantastic. Can't wait for Valentine's Day to spend with her. But the whole relationship that we've been in so far has been a porn free relationship. And we've been really open talking to each other, both about, things that we struggle with and things that we're overcoming. And that was a big part of when we started to date. I told her about how porn played a role in my divorce and what I'm doing about it. And the uh, the amount of trust and intimacy that we built over sharing our vulnerabilities has just been something completely beautiful and healing. So I just share that because, hey, you could be use Valentine's Day as your sober start date and see how it goes. See how your relationship, or if you're courting somebody, how that might be different compared to past relationships or past seasons in your life. Because I will tell you, being in a relationship now, coming on a year, porn free, has been absolutely amazing. It's been fantastic. I mean, it's so much less stressful when you're not looking at porn, lying about it, omitting it, having to think about, well, what excuse am I going to make? Or even if you're not even going to make an excuse, just if you're ready to tell the truth right away, which is the right thing to do, I would say within 24 hours. That's a golden rule, I think. At least in some recovery circles, is 24 hours is the time where you want to collect yourself, take a day, and then tell your spouse, tell your fiance, your girlfriend about that. Very important. But what I'm trying to get at here is I think when we're addicted to porn, when we're consuming it, it just complicates things. It just makes the relationship a lot more complicated. And when you remove that from your life, you live free of it. That is one less complication. And I will tell you, it's a giant complication because it goes straight at your sex life. It goes straight at their view of themselves and their value, their attractiveness. Women take that a lot differently than men. We're able to really just shake that off, compartmentalize. I think women view that very differently, and it affects them very deeply, I would say, at least from experience. And it hurts. It causes a lot of pain. And what better way to be on the opposite side of that, to where you're being honest, you're living in an integrity, and you're undivided, you're committed. You're when you tell them, "Hey, you look beautiful today," or "Hey, that dress, you look stunning," or "Hey, I really enjoyed that time with you. I had such a great time talking with you, and let's do it again soon." It really matters, and it has a lot more impact when you're backing up your actions or your words with your actions. And I think women can tell that, and they can also tell where you're just putting on a show. And I will say, I think for a lot of Valentine's days, it was like putting on a show. Hey, I look good. We're both attracted to each other. I know I've been lying to you behind your back, but hey, we're going to do something really nice tonight. And it's kind of sad when you think about it, because I think women, they're still going to want to be a part of this and have nice things said about them. But then I think there's also, if I was to put myself in their shoes and they're with somebody that's just addicted to porn and they know it, and this person's like us, we're not putting in the actions, we're not being honest. I think it wears off very quickly, the charm or the fun of it, I think. So I would say for Valentine's Day, don't just make it a milestone, a landmark. You're putting your flag on the ground. You're burning the boats. You're saying, "Hey, we're gonna have a great time tonight, and moving forward, this is what I'm gonna do to live in integrity and to to be the man that it's not just one day out of the year where I'm making you feel special, but it's every day, and I'm backing that up with my actions." So that's really what I had to say about Valentine's Day. I think when we live free from porn, and again, if you're struggling today, if you just relapse right before you listen to this, start now. Take the next best action, right? You have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. And what better way to do it than Valentine's Day? And gosh, I just thought of something really special to me, actually. I normally get emotional talking about this, so we'll see how I do. Take some water real quick. But Valentine's Day actually has a secondary meaning to me that it just came to me, actually. So yeah, 2 years ago, my grandma went into the hospital on Valentine's Day, and I was actually I got divorced in March 2023. That's when the papers finalized. So I was separated from my ex from about December, starting December 2023, and so I was sliding really bad with my sobriety. I was doing like I've been in, I would say, 6 years of recovery, to where pretty much on the whole, I've been sober going north. But there's been times in that 6 years to where I've had some slides. And this was one of them because I was going through a divorce and just heartbroken. I think a big part to play, like I've talked about before, was my relationship with porn and how that hurt my ex, and how I just didn't really pick up the pieces quick enough. Should have started early, but I didn't. So that's why I talk about it. So hopefully, when you hear this message, you can see, hey, this guy is doing the right things now. But I also had to pick up a lot of pieces, a lot of brokenness too comes with that. But anyways, so I was sliding pretty bad. I just started to pick up recovery coaching again with my coach Vern Tomke, who has a great podcast, Finding Traction, and Pastors on Porn. I plug it out often on this podcast, and he also does group coaching and individual coaching. It's bandofbrothers.care if you're interested in that. But anyways, I started to talk to Vern again around that time, and started. It was probably about like early February, maybe late January when I started coaching, but I wasn't. I was having a hard time maintaining my sobriety just because I was just very depressed, very uncertain, just scared. Uh, just hey, like my life as I knew it was over, of a 5 year marriage and a relationship many years before that. Probably known this person for like 10 years of my life. So I'm 33, so that's like a third of my life. And yeah, when you go through a divorce, it is in a way kind of like a death, like someone passing away. And definitely was in the stage of grief, was in a lot of grief. So my grandma went to the hospital, my grandma Ann, my mom's mom, Saint Anne is what we call her. And my grandpa passed away, my grandpa Jack, he passed away in May. And then she went into the hospital in February, and then she passed away 2 weeks later. But anyways, they were married for almost 70 years. Amazing people. Miss them very much. But something that really struck me and actually kick-started, I think it was 8 months of sobriety before I had that slip in December uh, of 24. Something that just changed me with my recovery, because I think when you relapse and you get back in on the horse, there's always like a little bit of an evolution, a different person. Like when once you establish some sobriety, you learn things, right? Like we're all going to stumble, we're all going to make mistakes, right? It's not always about your day count, your sobriety. And I think as you go through these progressions, hopefully you learn something. And I think this progression was really big for me because my grandma went in the hospital. It was kind of like I think my mom's in the nursing field, and she was measuring her oxygen, and it was pretty abnormal. I think like about a week before she went into the hospital. But anyway, she went into the hospital, and on my mom's side, like my parents have been married now for over almost 40 years now, and both their sides are fantastic. My mom's side's a lot more local, like all of her family basically lives pretty close in the Denver metro area in Colorado, which is really neat. I've always loved that. And we always would meet at grandma and grandpa's house for football games, to watch the Denver Broncos, either to cheer for them or to scream at the TV. Like a lot of the men did in the family, we'd scream a lot at the TV. It'd be very loud and rambunctious. It'd be a lot of food. And then my grandparents would just tell like the best stories, just the best stories. And there, it was just a place that the door was always unlocked. You could always come in, and it was just always like a safe space. And when my grandma went to the hospital, the room was just packed full of people. My mom's side, just everyone was there. And why I get emotional about this, what I'm getting emotional about now is like I just it really struck me of, I was going through my divorce, and what I thought was, hey, I'm gonna have children with this woman and have this family, and then to not be living in that reality anymore, it really struck me to be like where I was like, I don't want to die alone. I want a room full of people that love me and respect me. And my grandma, we called her Saint Anne just because I can't remember any memory in my life where she was mean, where she said something that rubbed me the wrong way. My Aunt Sherry actually said one time, we were right when my grandma passed away, we were sharing stories, and she said the meanest thing my grandma ever told her was to go outside and play, which is actually, I mean, she said it in a stern voice, but I mean, that's actually kind of good advice. I mean, we should all go outside more and play, right? But really, just an amazing person. I always just felt so loved because they'd always come to my basketball games, my football games. graduations, they'd always be there, and they just always would have so much joy in their hearts, and they were always so supportive. And I actually made a when my grandpa died and when my grandma died, I made a video for the funeral after the funeral to show to the family where I put together all these pictures, had some of their favorite music. And something that struck me with both of them was just how many babies they were holding in their arms. Uh, I basically did each slideshow. I kind of did different parts of their lives, and it was just amazing of how many people they touched, and all the smiles and the cheer. They'd always love to throw parties, and I look at that. I'm like, that's what life's about. That's the flavor of life. That is that's love, baby. That is love. And that's how it should be. That's how life should be. We should be sharing with others our experiences and cheering people on, encouraging them, supporting them, loving on other people. And I realized that porn did not have a place. There's no place in my life for porn. There shouldn't be a place for porn in my life. It doesn't belong here. It actually is something I'm not going to let in my house to the party. It doesn't belong with my family. No, you can stay outside. You can stay outside. You can leave. Get the hell out. That's how I feel about it. It has no place. And I realized that, and my little brother and I, we're accountability partners, and we talk every day. We send each other check-ins, and we actually committed, I think it was either that day or the day after, that we're going to be accountability partners. Was right after that, because we were both in the hospital together, and we I think we both realized that if we keep porn in our lives and we don't address this, it's going to be a different hospital room scene when we're in the hospital and it's our families. It's not going to be what it could be. And I think just living a life of sobriety now, and having some really great momentum, I do see that that's more of a reality for me in the future as I continue to grow, as I continue to live in integrity and encourage others and help others. That's the life I want. That's the ending I want, is to have a room full of people. I remember both funerals were just packed full of people. And yeah, I could probably go on about this, but hopefully the point sticks. Is what do you want your legacy to be like, and how can you make this day important and special, this Valentine's Day? How can you remember it to where you look back a year from Valentine's Day, and you can look back, and let's just say you do go a full year sober, or you at least go a full year where you're actively working on yourself and you're actively working to remove porn from your life. Take on that challenge, and you'll look back a year from Valentine's Day in 2026 and you'll say, wow, things have been great. They haven't been easy, but I can see the light, because I think there was many Valentine's Day, like I talked about, to where it was a fun day, but it's like the next day it's back to hell, or back to mediocrity, back to this monotonous life, this porn prison. But we're back, and it doesn't have to be that way. So that's my challenge to you. That's the Love Without Chains Porn Free Valentine's Day experience, brought to you by Porn Free Millennial. I hope this message brought you some hope, maybe fired you up a little bit. And yeah, what do you got planned for Valentine's Day? If you're following on Substack and you listen to this, feel free to post in the comments what your plans are for Valentine's Day, or maybe a fun Valentine's Day memory. But yeah, we're wrapping up here. So before we go, I am doing one-on-one coaching. So if you are interested in that, we can set up a 30-minute free consultation. Email me, pornfreemillennialcoaching@gmail.com. and we can set up a 30-minute free consultation, see if it's right for you. It's all personalized towards you, one-on-one, 1-hour coaching sessions. And then besides that, I'm writing a lot on Substack, really enjoying it. So I've got a Monday newsletter that I do. That's packed. It's got a theme, and then it's packed full of articles, tips, challenges, community spotlight, where I like to spotlight people within the community that have a great message, something of wisdom that's shared, and I like to tag them so that you can go check out their work as well. And yeah, so I got that going on Mondays, every Monday. So next Monday will be my 17th edition, which is pretty neat. And then I'm also doing a 52 Weeks of Freedom series. That's every Friday. So I'm posting tomorrow. I think that'll be my 7th edition. But that's just there. It's for, I think about half the post you can access for free. And then the second half is for paid subscribers, because it does go into a lot more detail into different strategies. So each week I'm picking an important strategy and pillar of sobriety and giving you some homework, some things to work on before the next one comes out. And yeah, that's just something I think that if you follow that every week, that should really help you build some really strong momentum in your life. So that's every Friday. It's called the 52 Weeks of Freedom series. Besides that, yeah, writing poetry, different articles. On Substack, there's notes too. They're kind of like tweets. And I've been making a lot of memes lately, so that's been fun. So, anyways, everyone, have a fantastic Valentine's Day. Bring out that inner romantic and back up your words with your actions. Your woman will love that. And use this as your launching point for momentum to break free from porn prison. So break free, stay free, be free, and keep fighting the good fight. Talk to y'all later. Happy Valentine's Day.